It's a sunny day on an unnamed hill facing southwest towards Lake Keechelis near Snoqualmie Pass, Washington State. This is the launch for the famous Rampart Ridge hang gliding site. I launch off at 2 p.m. in a nice thermal cycle. This is my first time at this site, and I am immensely thankful to a friend for inviting me and letting me fly his glider, a Will Swing Sport 2. Getting up is easy near launch, and a couple gliders who launched before me are showing me the way. It's a slow, smooth 200 fpm thermal, so I take it easy and enjoy the views of the beautiful pine forest and bright red poppy blooms that are carpeting the clearings. Once I'm comfortably over launch, I can see the other gliders heading into the canyon towards the cliff walls that this site is famous for. I follow them, a bit wary of extending my glide to the main LZ, as there are no other closer landing options. But I don't lose much altitude and get another nice thermal just before I get to the first rock wall. It doesn't take much time to get up, and I am rewarded by a glorious view of the vertical wall that's 1,000 feet high. Rick does a flyby as if welcoming me to his site, and I notice all the other gliders spread out over the ridge. This is already one of the best flights of the year. The tall peak that stands way in the distance to the south is the mighty Mount Rainier, the tallest peak in the Cascade Range and an active volcano. I am at 6,000 feet now and feel comfortable gliding to the main wall known as Rampart Ridge due to its resemblance to the guarding walls of ancient cities and castles. It's a sheer cliff about 1,000 feet high and over half-mile long. The light 10 mph wind is perpendicular to the wall and producing consistent thermic and ridge lift. The group of cobalt blue lakes behind the wall are collectively called Rampart Lakes. After a couple passes, everyone heads deeper into the canyon towards Alta Mountain. I get a good thermal here that takes me to 7,000 feet before it peters out. It's really nice to fly with Rick, Lewis, and everyone else here. I see a few patches of snow, but there should be a lot more. The recent record-breaking heat wave in June in the Pacific Northwest is to blame. It set temperatures over 20 degrees Fahrenheit higher than the averages. Most of the gliders leave after an hour, but I want to stay up as long as I can. We are 4.5 miles deep in the Gold Creek Box Canyon, about a 6-to-1 glide from the LZ. There are hikers walking along the Knife Edge Ridge going up to the peak of Alta Mountain. They look up and wave at us, apparently amazed at our daredevilry. While turning lazy circles in the buoyant lift, I survey the nearby mountains. Someday I would like to fly to Chicamin Peak at the end of the canyon, another 2 miles deep. But that would have to be a 9,000-foot day to be able to safely fly out of the canyon. On a topless glider, 8,000 feet would probably be enough. I fly between Rampart Ridge and Alta for another hour. Most of the other pilots are gone and I get lonely. So I decide to head back, but I am pleasantly surprised by a last thermal at Alta that gets me to 7,500 feet, the highest of the day. This area of the Central Cascade Mountains is protected under the Alpine Lakes Wilderness Area and has over 700 glacial lakes. The headwind slows my glide and gives me time to appreciate the natural beauty. I arrive over the back of Rampart Ridge, about even with the top, but get up in the glass-off lift. The wall looks glorious and primordial in the evening light. I can see why this area is so popular for hiking, but I don't see why more people don't want to fly here. The feeling of floating around freely over the gorgeous scenery with no engine is incomparable. Back at the first wall, I indulge in some fun swooping and shadow chasing. As the sun is getting lower, reluctantly, waving goodbye to the hikers at the crest, I head back over to launch and eventually head out to the Lake Keechless Valley to land. This area is usually only dry from late summer to early winter and fills up with the winter rain. The last glider touches down at the so-called carrier deck LZ. There is mild turbulence at altitude in the lee side of a hill, but a steady 10 miles per hour breeze at the LZ as I am touching down. I am happy to pull off a good landing on the narrow strip between the road and the flowing creek as everyone watches. What a spectacular and rewarding 3 hours in the air. The stuff dreams are made of. We grab a group photo just before sunset.